Hi, I'm Morgan Hines, and I'm in the PhocusWire studio at Phocuswright Europe. I'm here with Maxim Sevastianov of Trava. We're so excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Morgan.
We're going to chat a little bit about the inner workings of travel and Trava, so let's get into it. How has travel connectivity changed over the last 5 years or so, from your perspective?
I can talk about, generally from our perspective, we're very much flight-centric, and we work with the automation. I think the last 5 years or the X years, whatever the time period would be, is the need for our particular niche of business. What we do is has of course I would say increased quite a bit. The volume is higher. There's a lot more online business going on, so which means that the margins are being squeezed, and the need for automation is very much there, which we feel. So generally travel, I think from the traveler's perspective, you don't see much of a change, but you do see a lot more new players come into the business, the new tools, the new little niche solutions. But that all needs to be integrated, and so that it works perfectly well with each other. So generally, that's
And obviously technology has advanced significantly, particularly with the development of generative AI in the last few years. So what role is AI playing in these changes?
When it comes to, I think, applications facing the consumer, that's a great opportunity. That's really where it will provide a lot of use, I think, and of course a lot more, I would say, useful functionality towards that consumer. The planning part, the booking part, even the post-booking, maybe not the particular part that we work with, but the customer support and the servicing will definitely be very affected by the AI. For the B2B, of course, I think that's where it gets a little more challenging to find that niche and actually find the applicability. Because theoretically, it can do a lot of things, can really do a lot of things, but we also have to find the use case in the reality as well. And that's where it gets a bit challenging, but I think there are a lot of good ideas. This conference was very interesting. It was very different this year, very AI oriented. When you go to the different sessions, you listen to people. A few times I almost felt like I ended up in a conference for a wrong industry, not a travel industry, but more of AI. It was very centered around AI this day. So, but generally, AI, I do see it as an opportunity.
Yes.
It's a challenge. It will definitely be a threat to certain existing areas of business where people have already established solutions, and but it will have to adapt.
So, how are you determining, when you're looking at the application of generative and agentic AI in your business, what works and what doesn't? What does that process look like for you?
For us, we are in what we work with, it's a very much predefined processes that we automate. So that's where it does get a bit challenging, how to actually apply AI, because the decisions are already they are already there, so there are a lot of ifs and thens, and you do know exactly what should happen based on the characteristics of a particular scenario. So it's still, I would say, it's not that it's impossible for us. We still see certain areas where it can simplify. It can simplify the process. It can simplify the life of whoever works with the application. It will not take over. We'll still have to have a solution that does the automation, does the back end work, connecting to all the different sources, to the airlines, the reservation systems, and all that. So. And
what's the industry attitude and sentiment around technology? How's that shifting right now?
I think generally the industry has always been open to technology. Especially when the online travel took over, it became such a dominant part. That's where the technology has really played its, the fantastic role. We do find it challenging to actually, to fight that mindset. So the automation that we're talking about, so the efficiencies that it creates and so on. So I usually say that the biggest competitor for us, apart from the real competitors, of course, is the mindset. It's the mindset of the people that, one should not be afraid, even though it is a little bit of unknown, territory, because you have your processes that you're so used to, and it's been there for so many years, and the people have been working with it for so many years, and it's and you come there and you show the new ways of doing it, which should simplify the daily work, the just everything, and it kind of comes through, but at the same time there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of resistance still. So, but generally I think it's there is no other way. There is a technology, and that it will take over. The more and more, of course, has to be in an organized way, and there's been different examples of both organized and less organized over the last few years. How the certain technologies have been introduced or enforced. We're gonna say, so that's one we need to find the balance. How to actually make sure that people are receptive to that new technology as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so, what are APIs doing beyond content right now? How are they helping the travel ecosystem?
Beyond content, that's a very good question, because we're not into content at all. So to us, APIs, I would say without having an API, it's you can still go back to the very sort of basics and work with the non-API solution, which is I would say very obsolete and not efficient at all. However, APIs, that's the only way to go. You have to make systems communicate with each other. And API is the only way. It has to be structured data. There's definitely a lack of structured data today, still in many areas, even though a lot of data has been, and the communication with APIs is all based on structured data. So it's been improved a lot, but there's still a lot of small adjustments that need to be made to streamline, to make sure that all the APIs talk the same way, the same level.
So how do you? It sounds like a little bit of fragmentation, if I'm understanding correctly.
Correct.
So how do you address all those little factors?
Well, we are, it's just, it's applying your creativity and flexibility. Being as a tech company, you cannot just rely on API working 100% correctly. A lot of them work very, very well, and, for most scenarios. But it's all about the details. It's the exceptions and how you deal with them. So I think it's also about, it's finding that, being adaptive and flexible enough to deal with those exceptions. That's where it gets difficult.
And so when we talk about API connectivity, what does success look like to you?
The success, I would say, what I generally say success is, okay, first of all, you define there is a certain need in the market for that particular application, right? Then you develop it, you talk to the customers, of course, and there is a need for that, there's a fit for the product. Once they start using it, it's not success yet. I would say 3 to 6 months later, that's when I would say whether it's successful or not. You look at the numbers, so you look at the, so I would say the success would be like when we see that it works and when it does the purpose, when you see that people who were, I think the biggest success is when you see people being hesitant from the start and then seeing the other side. Right. So but that takes time. It's not going to happen a week or two or whatever. It takes a few months. So I think if you manage to turn the mentality around of these people, that would be success, I would say.
Okay,
really.
Interesting. So what's Trava doing to kind of disrupt the landscape right now?
Good question. So we're doing, automations, all kinds of automation to make the, the post-booking environment more efficient, to make sure that, people, it's not a glamorous job to work with the post-booking processes. It's a very repetitive, and it's just like, at the same time, you have to have a relatively high skill set and a knowledge base, how to operate things. And these people, they don't stay for long, So creating solutions that can not only replace, because it's not about replacing people, because these people will be very, very, very happy to do something more productive, something that's actually more customer facing, something that will generate not just the revenue, but also the customer satisfaction. Really. So I would say, for us, we do find it's a lot about, of course, having that very close conversation with the clients, but the best ideas actually come from being at the customer location and
Okay.
sometime observing what works, what doesn't, where the headaches are, where the people, sometimes you really hear people screaming about things, like really,
Yeah.
and just because they're frustrated, or they're tired of things and so on. So that's, I think, for us, the new connectivities to the carriers, the airlines, of course, that was very disruptive. The NDC, when it became like in certain areas, in certain markets, it became like the hockey stick effect when it just took off. And that's
yeah.
where I think the industry was not really ready for it. So that's a huge focus. That's a huge focus to make sure that it works just as well as the traditional connectivity with the reservation system, the GDSs.
And how does tech play into that for you? Emerging technology?
The emerging technology, I would, I don't have any specific comment on that. I think we are, we've tried to embrace the best we can,
Yeah.
the connectivities that we get, of course. AI is, it's not just a buzzword, it's here, it's now, and I think it's been so much focus on it over the last few days, and just generally, that everyone mentions it somewhere, puts
Yeah.
that little logotype or the icon of the AI, and that it's all AI powered and so on, but there needs to be a real use cases for it, and this
Yeah.
is where we try to also find, not just to be able to put the logo on the website, say we
Right.
are AI powered, but
Yeah.
actually make sure that it does the purpose, that it does help in certain areas.
Yeah.
So that's
So what do you see coming down the line? What's 5 years from now at Trava? What does that look like?
Trava 5 years from now. I think taking the process further, taking the process where we not only doing the behind the curtains work, the unseen work, as a consumer, you don't see a lot of work that's being done by the travel agent. So that's something needs to get done. But also moving more into the consumer part, where the consumer can actually serve themselves a
Yeah.
lot better. So actually, help travelers to help themselves.
Okay.
And there are solutions for that already. Yeah. But you also need to find something that's more holistic, where it takes the whole process from the time that the booking has been created, with all the things that happen there as well, the changes, the notification to the clients, the quality controls, everything, and then taking it all the way until the customer has actually ended the journey. So I think that's it's not a challenge, but it's quite a bit of work. It's quite a bit of work, and it's a fun work, especially when you're facing the consumer. It's
Yeah.
a little bit more fun than, I would say, only facing the B2B part. So
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. And when we think about challenges, what are the biggest challenges that you think are facing the travel industry right now?
Too many new players and too many sort of disruptions, maybe temporary disruptions, could be a challenge, I would
Yeah.
say. I think, of course, we hear about the over-tourism, in certain areas. So that's the generic kind of challenge, I would say,
Yeah.
for certain destinations.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I think, one should not be sort of, one should not just get into like every trend that comes up, because
Yeah.
some trends are just temporary,
Yeah.
So that's also a bit of a challenge, not to get blinded by some trendy new movements and try to follow everything.
Yeah.
So for
Well,
us,
things are changing so quickly.
they are changing a lot. They're like, again, the AI has made so much over like almost not yearly, monthly.
Yeah.
Monthly, you see
Yeah.
the changes. So whatever we may start working at today, maybe when we're done, it's not really relevant anymore. Maybe it becomes
Yeah.
obsolete before we even, we finish the work. So that's also a challenge, to actually see a little bit of what will come up, what will
Right.
be relevant,
Yeah.
in the future. I mean, people will still travel. It's still going to be the same,
Yeah.
the physical process will be the same, but it will come more from I think, someone also mentioned, which was a very good thing, which, something I probably have not acknowledged to myself so much, so that it should come from the experience. You should
Yeah.
almost have the experience in mind first, and then the planned travel after that,
Yeah.
instead of just travel and then, whatever experience I get,
Yeah.
which is also part of it. So
Right.
it has to be a surprising element as well.
Yeah.
But it still needs to be, I think, to plan it around the experience at that destination or whatever you're going to be there. So that would be a very good way to go.
Yeah.
That from the both personal and I guess the professional perspective as well. So how to deal with that.
Makes sense. And If you could change one thing about the industry with the snap of your fingers, what would it be?
Oh, more streamlined data, more streamlined APIs. I would say this is our headache. This is
Yeah.
our headache, dealing with APIs that are not completely streamlined,
Yeah.
where we have to all this additional work that needs to be done, so that would be, to me, from the technical perspective.
Yeah.
I will not talk about, what you would do at the airport when you're delayed many hours
Yeah.
and so on. There are a lot of things I would probably want to change as well, but that's more from the personal perspective. From the professional technical perspective, I would want APIs to be a little bit more streamlined and work the way that they should work. Really.
Got it.
Intended.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for making time for us today.
Thank you so much for bringing me here. Thank you.